York Rangers are headed to Carolina for Game 7 as they beat the Hurricanes 5-2 at Madison Square Garden in Game 6. And it's just crazy. The home-road difference in this series is probably the craziest I've ever seen, honestly. And Carolina now, in their first 13 games of the playoffs, they're perfect at home and they're winless on the road. It's crazy. But I'm proud of this Ranger team that they're now 4-0 in elimination games. Obviously you hate to be in these situations in the first place, but if I'm being honest with myself, going to this Carolina series, I would have thought we would have lost by now. I really, if I'm being honest with myself, I thought Carolina would have won in 5, maybe if things worked out really well, 6. So if the Rangers get to this point, they've far exceeded my expectations. They really, really have. It's been a fun season. Whatever happens on Monday, I mean, it's been really amazing. For a team that, hadn't been in the playoffs since 2017, was in a rebuild, and they are way ahead of schedule. There's no question about it. And I fear, I've said this a bunch, Game 1, I think, is the one that the Rangers will look back on and say, maybe if we win that one, and we, win 3, 4, and 6 at home, that could have been the path to victory. Look, they say that in Game 7, anything can happen. This is a fun episode, and I'm, super excited to, discuss everything that happened in Game 6. But just looking ahead, I think Game 7 is going to be challenging. I really do. I don't think that it's going to be easy for the Rangers to win. They can do it. It's one game, but I think they're going to have the work cut out for them. But we shall see. What might help that possibly, the return of Barclay Goodrow. So talk about an unexpected return. He hadn't played since Game 1 of the first round against the Penguins. We had heard, I think, that maybe he was standing on his own, but there wasn't really an expectation that he'd come back, and here he is. So similar to how Tyler Mott came back in Game 6 of the Penguin series, down 3-2, Goodrow comes back in Game 6, and he looked no worse for wear. Kevin Rooney was the scratch, which isn't all that surprising. I'm going to say this, and I'm not a big Kevin Rooney fan, don't get me wrong, but if you have Ryan Reeves sit, and I understand the intangibles, I do, because they are on display. Ryan Reeves, there is value there. But for Game 7 at Carolina, for me, I don't think they'll do it. But I would go to Rooney and sit Reeves. That's just me. And so then your fourth line is Mott, Rooney, and Goodrow. That's a good fourth line. That's a pretty good fourth line that is defensively responsible, has some speed, versatile, a line that you're not afraid to use. With Reeves, it just changes the dynamic. Again, Reeves, I'd say, is more likable than Rooney, if we're going to go there. Not that Rooney's unlikable, but, Reeves is more of a leader, more meaningful in that locker room. But it's just a thought. Either way, though, regardless of all that, Goodrow coming back, that's pretty big. Now, if Sammy Blake somehow came back, now that'd be crazy. You just never know. I don't think that he'll be back in Game 7. That's my thought. But if the Rangers somehow won Game 7, I think Sammy Blake might be back for that Tampa Bay Lightning series. I absolutely think that he might. So something to think about if the Rangers are lucky enough to get to that point. But Goodrow returning, that is great news. And like I said, I really feel like he made an impact. He played 13 minutes and 16 seconds. He was a +1. Really liked his game. 50% at the faceoff dot, which for the Rangers is as good as it gets, honestly. So that's all well and good. But, again, Igor Shesterkin was fantastic tonight. He made 37 saves, had 2 assists, and had 2 penalty minutes. So, I mean, it's just funny. 2 assists, 2 penalty minutes, and 37 saves. Igor, he can do it all. He has really – it's been a very strong series for Shesterkin. After, the Pittsburgh series at points, it wasn't good. But really ever since, about Game 5 or so, I really thought Game 7 he was really good. But, towards the end of that Penguin series into now, it's back to the Shesterkin that we saw during the season. Just really good. And Philip Chytil. It was tonight the Stars were Shesterkin and Chytil. The player that we've seen in the playoffs is very, very encouraging. Because I thought Chytil's regular season was very underwhelming. I think that he got better as the season went along, and he's kind of carried that into the playoffs. But I really like what I've seen from Filipino in the playoffs. It's a good thing. Moving, whereas I don't know, I think his spot on the roster was somewhat in question. Obviously, there's a need for centers, and Chytil can fulfill that. But I think that it was interesting. Sort of, there were times that he was a healthy scratch, but in the playoffs, he's really come alive, and he scores two big goals in this game. Of course, he had that big goal in Game 5 against Pittsburgh, the game winner. He almost had the game winner, what should have been in Game 1 against Pittsburgh, if not for that goalie interference call. So he's kind of come up in the clutch as well. He scored in Game 1 at Carolina. So Chytil, I think he's been showing speed, and he deserves to be talked about. So Chytil, who kind of among the kid line, he kind of flies a little under the radar just because, he wasn't he was a first round pick, but not a top pick like Lafreniere and Kako. But Chytil's done really well. So, like I said, Goodrow in, Rooney out, same lineup for Carolina. It was a rough night for Antti Raanta, who would be pulled. And Shesterkin got up to a good early start. We've seen this a bit, where Shesterkin, he makes these key early saves, and it really sets him up for success moving forward within the game. But the Rangers would get on the board first. Like I said, after some really good saves by Igor, it's Tyler Mott. So Tyler Mott, who I really like his game. If the Rangers can somehow re-sign him, I'd be very happy with that. I think Tyler Mott is a very good bottom six piece. And he gets the second goal of the series unassisted. So Mott showing some speed. It wasn't a good goal by Raanta. Let's call it as it was. Not a good goal by Antti Raanta, but there's value to shooting the puck on net. And that's what Mott does, and he scores. And it makes it 1-0 Rangers. Then Brendan Smith, high six Alexis Lafreniere. Good job by Lafreniere drawing that penalty. And so Brendan Smith takes that penalty, and he would have to pay for it as Mika Zibanejad scores a pretty nice goal where he makes a nice move, comes in with speed, and makes a little bit of a move. It kind of opens Raanta up, and he puts it in 5-hole. So Raanta probably wants to play that better, but it was a nice move by Zibanejad. It's Mika's fourth. He scored in 4 straight games, which I believe ties the playoff record. The last player to score 4 goals in a normal playoff game was Brendan Shanahan in 2007, I believe was the stat. So it is Mika scoring his 7th goal of the playoffs, and the assists go to Adam Fox and Igor Shesterkin. So there you go with Igor. But in the first, there would be a penalty taken by the Rangers at 12:49. Trouba trips Andrei Svechnikov, but the Rangers penalty kill really got the job done tonight. They do it there, and the Rangers take a 2-0 lead going into the second. And in the second period, the Rangers would take an early 3-0 lead, and Filipino had a chance just before this, but he gets another one. Lafreniere, I guess I'm surprised Lafreniere didn't get an assist on this. He didn't. Lafreniere kind of chips it out. It gets to Adam Fox. Fox finds an open Chytil, and he scores past Raanta. Raanta is pulled at that point. So at 3-0, Ranta's out of the game. Rangers take a 3-0 lead, and they're looking pretty good at this point. But, however, Carolina would respond, and it's former Ranger Brady Shea. First goal of the playoffs for Brady Shea. An assist by Aho and Jarvis. On this goal, it was, Kreider makes it. Kreider kind of can't keep the possession in the offensive zone. And for me, Chris Kreider, there's still a lot more to be had for Chris Kreider. That's why I'm hoping Game 7, maybe he can come through with a big goal. Because I'm looking at Kreider as someone who I've been definitely a bit disappointed with, for sure. I think, by the end of the Penguins series, he really got it done. But this Carolina series, he was good in Game 3. Other than that, I just think there's more to give. But anyway, Kreider turns it over. And Frank Vatrano, just defensively, I feel like with Vatrano, he's a bit of a one-trick pony where, he has a great shot, a good offensive player. With that shot, he can score goals. On that second power play unit, he helps at times, even though there's minimal, ice time to be had there. But Vatrano slides and Shea scores. Long story short, it's interesting. Vatrano, you just wonder in terms of potential line juggling in Game 7. Vatrano, as he comes up big in certain spots, like his stats aren't bad, but it's interesting. I wonder if there is, especially with Goodrow coming back, it opens up some different opportunities. But like I said, it's 3-1 on that Shea goal. But then the Rangers respond back right away, and it's the second goal of the period for Filip Chytil. Filip Chytil, his 4th goal of the playoffs from Lafreniere and Shesterkin. Now, this is a play where Chytil, it's a really strong backhand that goes past the new goalie, Peter Kochetkov. And Chytil, it's probably one that Kochetkov would like to have, but again, I was impressed with the fact that Chytil was able to get that much elevation on a backhand shot way out, showing good puck possession, and he scores, and that makes it 4-1. So a good job by the Rangers there. But then Carolina, they continue to fight, and it's a goal by Vincent Trocheck at 12:47, his 5th of the playoffs, second goals in back-to-back games for Trocheck, with assist by Natchez and another point for Brady Shea. So 2 points for the former Rangers Shea. And that makes it 4-2. And this was kind of a scrambly sort of goal where it ends up going in off of Lindgren and in. So that's actually the second goal of the series off of Ryan Lindgren. And so it makes it 4-2. And to make matters worse, Chris Kreider, who again I'm down on, it's at 12:56 takes a penalty, and he hooks Seth Jarvis, and so the Rangers penalty kill does a great job. That's where Goodrow coming back in helps. I mean, he's a definite upgrade over Kevin Rooney in every sense, and so Goodrow, Kopp, all those guys. I think Zibanejad was with Mott. They do a good job of killing that off, and it would stay 4-2, but Carolina would really push for the rest of the second period. They really were, pressuring the Rangers, and eventually Shesterkin takes an interference penalty as he was kind of going for the puck with Seth Jarvis. It was the right call. Shesterkin interfered with him, but the Rangers do a great job on the kill at the end of the period, and so it stays 4-2. I thought that was really big. Those 2 kills were very, very big. And so we go to the third, and there's a lot of penalties in the third. Jacob Slavin, it's a double minor for high sticking on Slavin. And that was against Kreider. And then during that penalty, though, Artemi Panarin hooks Sebastian Aho, and we're going to talk about Artemi Panarin a little bit, but I'm still not impressed by Panarin. He eventually comes through, but with Panarin, I don't love what I'm seeing still. That's just my opinion. I mean, look, the stats have always been misleading with Panarin. I think he's another guy. Him and Kreider, I guess, are the two that Panarin mostly, and then Kreider, the two that I look to, like for Game 7, you got to step up. So Panarin takes that penalty, but then Ian Cole interferes with Andrew Kopp. Eventually, this becomes a 5-on-3, and the Rangers score. And it would be a goal for no one other than Artemi Panarin. It's Panarin's 4th goal of the playoffs, assisted by Kreider and Strome, makes it 5-2 Rangers. And that would be the end of the scoring in the game. There would be some more penalties, some more chippy stuff. Trocheck and Goodrow matching minors at 9:07. Then at 10:22, Keandre Miller trips Kotkaniemi, but then stupid Tony Giangelo takes a selfish, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because D'Angelo loses his cool very easily. Ranger fans got on him. It was pretty awesome. I didn't even say I was at this game actually. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I was lucky enough to be at this game. So, was that 2 games in the Penguin series? Was that 2 games in the Carolina series? So, very, it was a really fun game to go to. And then Aho takes a roughing penalty at 14:39, and the Rangers win it 5-2. They force a Game 7. A lot of good things in this game, but you got to wipe that clean because Carolina at Carolina is so tough. They just are. And so wherever this goes, I'm proud of this team because this could be, this might be their last win. It might be. And there's no shame in that because, I think the thought for me was just hopefully make the playoffs. That's all I would have been so happy with that. And they've gone well beyond that to push it to a 7th game against a really good Carolina team. It is. I mean, this is a very, the Rangers have done well against them at home, but this is a very good Hurricane team. It's unfortunate the Rangers didn't win Game 1 when they had that opportunity, but let's see what happens in Game 7. I'm hoping the Rangers will have to play their best game of the season to win. No joke. The Rangers will have to play their best game of the season to win this. You cannot play subpar and expect to win this game. It's got to be your best. So Gallant's been able to push all the right buttons. They're 4-0 in elimination games when the Rangers have their backs against the wall. Similar, crazily enough, to the mid-2010s Rangers teams, 2012, 14, 15, so on and so forth, where the Rangers would win elimination games. We're seeing it again with this 2022 bunch, and it's been a welcome sight. So I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited, and wherever it goes, this Ranger team has provided a lot of thrills. It's been fun. And again, Rangers win. They do it again, and we'll see what happens in Game 7. as this series reaches its conclusion in Raleigh.